Hey guys, I'm Rachel Castile. Welcome to Typology Corner. Today I'm doing an overview video on the Enneagram Type 8, the protective challenger or just the challenger. This type is known for being protective of the underdog, those that are weak in some way, looking out for others. But yeah, this video will be an overview on kind of the levels of health, what this type looks like, their core motivations, and then getting into their wings and subtypes, all the different ways that a type 8 can show up in the world. So yeah, I hope this video helps you discern your own type if you are an 8 or which 8 you might be. And yeah, the core thing that's motivating are type 8s. So starting out, type 8 is in the gut triad, which are the types who struggle with the core emotion of anger or rage in some way. So type 8s are the most comfortable with expressing anger. And it's also kind of related to boundaries and dealing with like injustices in a sense. So yeah, they're focused on control, having power, being able to attain the things that they want in life and to not be controlled by somebody else, to not be vulnerable in a sense. So it's been said that they feel that life is challenging them, so they accept that challenge and they challenge life back. So they push against reality to make it conform to what they want in a sense. Yeah, so they challenge what's in front of them. So yeah, getting into the core motivations, their core fear is the fear of being weak, being powerless, being harmed, controlled, being vulnerable, being manipulated, or left at the mercy of injustice. It's also said it's the fear of being harmed or controlled or violated. So type 8s at a young age kind of grew up fast. Their reality was kind of like shaken in some way. They were startled into realizing I need to be strong. Yeah, weakness is not a good thing. Vulnerability is not a good thing. I've got to watch out for myself, kind of thing. So, in a sense, they lost their childhood at a young age and became kind of adult like, in a sense. And they are known for looking out for the underdog, watching out for those that can't protect themselves. Yeah, that they're not all that in touch with the weaker side of themselves, and they protect that in other people too. They're looking out for others. Their core desire is to protect themselves and those in their inner self. So those in their inner circle, those that they care about, to make sure that everybody is okay. It's kind of a core desire of theirs. And then the core weakness, vice, can be said the core sin of the type. The weakness that they have a propensity towards is lust or excess. And that looks like constantly desiring intensity, control, and power, pushing yourself willfully on life and people to get what you desire. Let's see. Then their super ego message. This is when kind of in the grip of their personality type, this just seems true to them. You are good and okay if you are strong and in control of your situation. That's just seems true to them. That's what's driving their ego, I guess, or the super ego message. So yeah, a couple more definitions of what lust looks like for type 8s. I'm going to go into this a bit more because lust, people think of like just like sexual lust, and that's not necessarily what this is. It can be that, but it just speaks more to their energy, their intensity, just the way they are, looking for intensity in life. But here's a definition: very strong life force energy, which the 8 is plugged into 200%. There may be an inability to see the good in other people or shared projects because everything is referenced to the self and the experience of this powerful energy. Constantly desiring intensity, control, and power. Yeah, that's that lust, the lust for power, the lust for attaining what they want in life is kind of how that shows up. Um, and let's see. Then the core longing, this is connected to the childhood message, which I'll get into later, but you will not be betrayed. This is the message that their heart needs to hear, needs to know to be true, that they won't be betrayed, that they can trust. That they can let their guard down. That is the thing they're longing to hear, longing to know that they have that safe place and they won't be hurt when they open up, whenever they're vulnerable, when they show their weaker, softer, big heart, that they won't be betrayed. So that's a core longing of theirs. And then getting into the ego fixation. So when in the grip of their personality type, their mental focus is on vengeance. And this is what that looks like: wanting to right all wrongs, especially as pertains to the self and those whom the 8 feels protective of. Mafia is a good example. Excessive hostility or cynicism, which may devalue relationships and activities. So that's what it can look like when it's pretty unhealthy, or when the 8 is in an unhealthy state. But it's wanting to right the wrongs of injustices. That's something that their mind is on. When something's wrong, it's like, this needs to be made right, or there needs to be payment for what's been done, kind of idea. So some type quotes, things that a type 8 might say in various states of living. My way or the highway, I'm the master of my fate. I've got to bring home the bacon. You've got to deal with me. What are you made of? No one tells me what to do. I can look out for you. It's a bit of the psychology. Now, getting into the childhood message, this is what type 8s believed in some way, whether it was communicated to them or this is just what they walked away with from their environment or situation. Some event taught them that this was true at a young age and kind of set them on the path of, it didn't decide their type, but it started to determine their level of health, in a sense of how much the type 8 really took hold, these patterns. That shows up in like average to unhealthy levels. But the childhood message is, it's not okay to be vulnerable or to trust anyone. Some life experience taught them that. That seemed like the most true thing. And then from there, their desire to protect themselves, it deteriorates into constant fighting against. It could be people, it could be reality, it could be just life situations, fighting like that, having to challenge the world, challenge their situation, challenge what's going on, challenging the status quo, challenging something. Protection kind of turns into fighting, challenging the world. Now, this is definitely a positive thing, like being a challenger. It's not to all be seen in a negative light, but just giving you a bit of the archetype of type 8 here. And the truth that sets them free, again, is you will not be betrayed. Whenever a type 8 knows this in their heart, they can be vulnerable again. They can trust people. They can live more present and not be fixated on what's wrong, as in like what people have done wrong against them in some way, and expressing anger and pushing against reality in a sense. They can be more at peace with what's going on and know that they're safe and not have to fixate on protecting themselves or protecting others, but just knowing that it's kind of like, if you're not going to be betrayed, then you're not needing to protect against such a thing. So it starts to allow them to rest, and not put all their energy into that fixation. So some key characteristics, again, I've mentioned it before, but 8s, they push against reality. They hate injustice. They're protective of the innocent, and they externalize their anger. Let's see. So let's explore the childhood patterns a bit more. So type 8 children, they grew up with the lens that the world is an aggressive an antagonistic place. This is from my notes from my certification with Beth McCord. Some of her notes on the childhood pattern. So they grew up with the lens that the world is an aggressive and antagonistic place, and only those who are strong, tough, and smart will survive. They saw how the weak, innocent, and vulnerable were taken advantage of, hurt, and betrayed. They did not want to be one of these vulnerable people, so they decided to protect their hearts with strong armor. Type 8s are sensitive inside. Their heart is so soft and tender that if it is exposed and taken advantage of, it would be devastating to them. Wearing protective armor feels necessary for survival. They rarely remove the armor to allow others to experience their tender side, but when they do, it is an amazing experience. Type 8 children can be extremely confrontational, challenging, and rebellious. They do not want to be controlled or challenged in any way, so they control others first. They have intense energy and can dominate a whole room. They will command and direct others with confidence. They do not trust others easily and worry a lot about betrayal. Many type 8s were betrayed in some way growing up, which is where they lost their innocence and decided to put on their protective armor. Yeah. And the childhood message, it's not okay to be vulnerable. It's not okay to trust. That got established in childhood. It's a reality. It's a lens. It just seems true. Like, that's not okay. But yeah, as they move into health, they really begin to live a freer, healthy life that begins to unlock the integration movement. Looking at the lines, type 8 is connected to type 2 and type 5. So in health, when they're growing, they move towards traits of the 2 and become more just freely giving. That big heart that they have is expressed very freely. And they begin to care for others. So their focus of attention in most states, type 8, they are focused on taking control so that they can protect themselves and others from being manipulated or harmed. They want to be self-reliant, to assert themselves, to prevail over others, and to be invincible. Their primary perspective is that they don't want to be controlled, harmed, or for others to have any power over them physically, emotionally, or financially. Their highest priority is protecting themselves and those closest to them from being blindsided, controlled, harmed, betrayed, or at the mercies of injustice. They do this by putting on a very intimidating, strong, and protective armor that is powerful and controlling. One thing I'll say, their control starts by wanting to have like control over themselves, which in unhealth can become controlling other people, but it's not directly that. Like a type 8 just wants self-control. They want autonomy, to be able to dictate their own fate. So it's more self-control than it is controlling others. Let's see. Unfortunately, it inhibits others from seeing their very tender heart. They also don't back down when they desire something and can persuasively convince others to give them what they want. So it's a general picture. Now, looking at the levels of health, what does a type 8 look like in health? At their very best, healthy 8s are big-hearted, compassionate people who are able to surrender their own willfulness to serve something greater than their own ambitions. They become truly selfless, not in a passive, ineffectual way. They retain all of their tremendous energy and vitality, but in the sense of acting utterly without self-interest. Healthy 8s see exactly what needs to be done for the greater good, and they do it. They let go of the belief that they must always be in control of their environment, which allows them to let down their guard and heal their hearts. They also paradoxically achieve their basic desire, the desire to protect themselves, and become magnanimous, self-surrendering, courageous, forgiving, and sometimes heroic. Yeah, really, really beautiful. All that energy, all that power, all that resourcefulness is now helping other people. They're taking that and their focus isn't on covering their own basis anymore. So all of that watching out for others becomes helping other people in a very free, unrestrained kind of way. It's really beautiful. I'm connected to type 8 myself as a type 2, so in unhealth I can go to type 8 traits, and I used to think I was a type 8. But yeah, this is really beautiful to see what that can be for type 8 in freedom. And now moving into average. Average is whenever the type 8 is believing, hey, it's not okay to trust. It's not okay to be vulnerable. This is kind of the way their personality begins to manifest. So 8s begin to fear that they do not have enough resources to succeed with their projects or to carry out their role as provider. Thus, they become more shrewd and expedient about getting the resources they want. Businesslike and competitive, they are more guarded about their feelings. So they are fixated on the attainment of the possessions, the resources, having the position of power that they need in order to not be vulnerable, to not be controllable, to maintain power becomes a fixation at the average level. And then moving on to unhealthy, 8s become so desperate to protect themselves and so fearful of retaliation for their actions that they begin to attack potential rivals before they can threaten them. They respect no boundaries and rapidly overreach themselves. Delusions of invulnerability can leads them to endanger themselves and others. Yeah, an example I've heard is like a drug dealer or like mob boss kind of thing where you have like territorial power and like maintaining that and then going out and attaining more territory to ensure that like you keep that position of power at the expense of other people in a sense. It's that fearful place of losing it that can make this be out of control, and it can become controlling of other people, and it's not just that self-control, self-attainment sort of place. So this is type 8 at their worst. Generally, you can look at this in much greater detail of like the 9 levels of health for type 8, but this is a general picture of the spectrum of health. But yeah, so I like to highlight freedom for them. I feel like I've done it already, but just I think the biggest like asset of type 8s is the heart that they have. They have such a tender, sensitive, big heart. Like give you the shirt off their back kind of big heart. And yeah, I just encourage 8s like lean into I guess finding a safe place where you can see that you won't be betrayed, to seek out healthy relationships where this like wall can start to come down, and yeah, you can begin to share that beauty that's really on the inside, that deep compassion that's there, and to be led by that more so than the self-protection. Yeah, so you just kind of have to make choices in that direction, begin to rest and meditate on the truth that, hey, I will not be betrayed. Yeah, I can trust. I won't be taken advantage of. I'm not vulnerable. It's kind of the meditation on invulnerability. Whenever an 8 sees that to be true, they can move about freely in the world, doing all the things that they have in their heart to do, and sharing their heart and sharing their tender side, knowing that weakness is a strength, that it's not something that, the word casualty, I'm trying to think how to use it, but yeah, like you won't be a casualty if you're weak. Like, maybe in certain environments, but find healthier environments that are for you, that can train you differently, that can teach you that all of reality isn't that way. Because yeah, um, our childhoods or just negative environments really teach us these lies. I'll say the lies of the childhood message. Um, it came from something that seemed true. So yeah, that's my encouragement. Now let's get into the subtypes. So this is getting into the instinctual variants. Um, every type prioritizes a certain instinctual variant first. Then they have a secondary one, and then one that's repressed from some experience that said, "Hey, I need to push that down, not focus on that." So this is a very like distinct part of personality that all the types also need to be seen through the lens of the instinctual variant, which are called the subtypes, because they strongly color how the type shows up, how they behave, what they're focused on first. All these types still have the same core motivations, but it shows up a little bit differently for them. So we have self-preservation, social, and then sexual. So I'll start. Let's see. Self-preservation is called satisfaction. Some other words, let's see. Satisfactory survival, territory. This type is focused on attaining resources for themselves, making sure that they have all the material possessions that they need, is a little less social. I wouldn't say antisocial, but they are preoccupied with, am I okay? Do I have what I need? So here's some descriptions I'm going to read from EnneagramProfiling.com on the types. So self-preservation in the area of personal survival, 8s will ensure that they have what they need to survive in a satisfactory way. They may buy things in bulk or hoard. They may live close enough to a shop not to have to. What? Yeah, they may live close enough to a shop not to have to, but they will be compulsive about having enough of the right kind of food available at the right time. The drive covers all the material things that allows them to feel comfortable and satisfied. This subtype believes in going for what they want, and they expect others to do the same. Here's a quote. All my friends were starting to retire early, and I thought it would be nice if we could maybe fairly soon if I worked hard enough. So I went to a financial advisor, and he looked at my assets, and then he looked at me with a sort of disbelieving laugh and said, "How much exactly do you think you need to have? You need to have the life you say you want." Yeah, so it's just that fixation on attainment to get the desired result, the lust, the want. Whatever scale the 8 is looking at, how do I get that done? So yeah, a little more antisocial, I would say, in comparison to the other types. So moving on to the sexual or the one-to-one type, some words for them is possession or surrender, devotion. So 8s who prefer relating one-to-one have their special friends, felt to be lifelong relationships. Possessiveness may not be obvious, but they need to know they are central to a person's life. They look for someone whom they can trust enough to surrender to and let go of control. And with the surrender, they become very vulnerable to betrayal. Here's a quote. I've had to realize that I don't need to know every single thing that goes on in his head, but it used to upset me to hear him telling other people things he hadn't told me. Like, sure, you can talk to other women. I'm not jealous, but you very well better not give them a part of you that you haven't given me. Surrender is so insidious. There's a level on which I just want to let go and not have to be in control all the time. And that easily turns into, if you love me, look after me. Ugh. So yeah, it's like a reluctance, annoyance in them in surrender, but wanting to surrender, wanting to be able to trust somebody, to fully give themselves to someone. That's just a true thing for the sexual instinct in general, is that one-to-one bond. But that comes in conflict with the fear of vulnerability and betrayal, but wanting to give themselves fully to somebody. So it's that tug of war with their instinct and their type as an 8. So yeah. Now moving on to the social instinct, some words for them is solidarity, alliances, friends, and foes. So this is the social instinct, much more people focused. This is actually the counter type. So they kind of go against the lust in a way, or it manifests differently. They are more like socially focused on their friends, relationships, networks, things of that nature. So here's to the description. 8s manifest lust in a social arena by having many friends, often a network of friends who work and or play together. They like to introduce friends to each other, make sure everyone enjoys life, and provide mutual support and protection in times of need. The drive underpinning this is a feeling of solidarity, mutual trust, and loyalty. And here's a quote. It's just really nice to have a lot of friends. I'm usually at the center of the group or the one who organizes what we do, but that's not the point. Of course, I want to have a good time, and I will, but even more, I want them to. I organize parties and invite friends who wouldn't normally meet, a biker and a banker, say, and really enjoy their surprise that they get on with each other. So, yeah, the social networker, connector, protecting their group, connecting people, watching out for them. Yeah, this is really cool. So this is the counter 8. It shows up a bit differently. They're more social. They can kind of look like a 2, look like a 6. The loyalty kind of group thing being in there. Yeah, this type is much more people focused. And yeah, so that is it for the subtypes. Now on to the wings, which are also another form of subtypes. Type 8 sits between type 7 and type 9. So we're going to look at mixing those two types, what kind of blend you get. So type 7 or type 8 with a 7 is called the Maverick. This is a more extroverted, super bold, aggressive type. I say aggressive as in they approach the world actively, not passively. They go after what they want. You're mixing the lust and the gluttony together, wanting new experiences, wanting power, wanting control, wanting to be independent, wanting to get what they want in life. So yeah, the Maverick is the more extroverted of the two types. When you're mixing the 8 with a 9 wing, you get a more introverted, a more private, more private type that is kind of conflict avoidant, but also the 8, the dominant 8, is more a challenger. So you get a mix that's kind of, they're called the bear. So they are a bit more studied, calculated, less in your face version of the 8. So, yeah, let's talk about the Maverick. The 8 with the 7 wing. In general, they are blunt, intense, and demanding. No shortage of energy. They have tenacity, perseverance, and confidence. They insist on being, they insist on others being direct, quick, and assertive. When they're struggling, they are more focused on gaining power and control. Can be impatient, demanding, impulsive, and can lack compassion whenever in that state. These two types, they blend well together, so it produces a very confident, aggressive, and assertive subtype. Type 8s, they want power, control, and autonomy, and type 7s want experiences, possessions, and freedom. Yeah, they go well together. A very strong, high energy type. I would say the highest energy type, the most independent type on the Enneagram. Their inspiring quality is a powerful driving force to see what can and needs to be done and actively gets involved to plow a path for the benefit of others. Yeah, just a go-getter, get it done, making paths for running for others at their very best. Really admirable quality. So let's see what else. Mavericks, they treat everyone the same at home and at work and insist on others being direct, quick, and assertive. Let's see. They are more direct, intense, and demanding than the bear with the 9 wing. Let's see. Yeah, more extroverted, more direct, and just a force to be reckoned with for the positive and for the negative, in health and not in health, I would say. So yeah, really, really awesome type. Now on to type 8 with a 9 wing, the bear. So in general, they are steady, patient, compassionate, tender, and soft-hearted. When interacting with others, they are less overtly aggressive, holding power and strength within until it is needed. Desires more comfort and peace. Yeah, the conflict avoidance is there. So they won't be just like stirring up stuff unnecessarily, I guess, from their perspective. Yeah, a bit more considerate, I would say, in general. Let's see. So when struggling, more intimidating with an unpredictable temper, aggressiveness, control, and demanding comes out at work, while passivity and accommodation remain at home. You're hearing how these two types are kind of conflicting within them, two sides of their nature. So yeah, these two types are in conflict with each other. Type 8 is aggressive, assertive, sure of themselves, and moves towards conflict. And the passive type 9 avoids upsetting others. So yeah, there's a bit of a wrestle around addressing things. Yeah, but also a direct type. Their inspiring quality is their gentle strength motivates and inspires others to excel in their particular areas of strength. They're just a steady strength, bringing out that in others just by their example, and their like immovability in a sense. Something with type 9s is kind of a stubborn immovableness about them, a resistance. Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. Let's see what else to say. Bears desire comfort and peace and display more compassion, tenderness, and softness with others. Yeah, don't like upsetting people. They are steadier and more patient than the maverick. They lead others by being calmly supportive and protective. So I think of it more as a contained energy. 8 with a 7 is this expansive, moving energy. The 9 keeps them more contained, to not create trouble unnecessarily. But that same core motivation of not being vulnerable, having power, having what they need, protecting people is still there. Let's see. They can be intimidating to others. I think I said that already. Since you never know when the bear's temper will erupt. So it's just like a lid on it, versus just an expressive anger, expressive rage in the sense of dealing with what needs to be challenged, speaking to the injustice in the moment, handling it is what the 8 is kind of known for. So the bear is more like the mama bear. I'm watching, I'm protecting, and I'm still energy, and then it could just yeah. So that is about it for type 8. What else to say? Final words. I really admire type 8s. I really like them in general. As a type 2, I feel very drawn to them. Um, yeah, I love their bigness, their energy. Uh, let's see what else. Yeah, they just have a gift of being powerful, just a powerful force of nature. Um, that when, you know, committed to the right cause, they're unstoppable. They're unstoppable in negative things too, in whatever I would say industry, calling that they find themselves in. I just admire their boldness, their ability to speak their mind, to stir the pot. One thing that's said about type 8s is that they almost see conflict as intimacy, like fighting as intimacy. It's like, hey, fight with me. Let's talk about this. And they feel loved when somebody will actually get in the ring with them. That makes them feel loved. If somebody, I don't know if conflict is the right word, but uh, yeah, they're expressing it all. And if somebody else express it all, they're like, man, we really got to know each other. We really had a good conversation. And somebody viewing it might be like, weren't y'all like fighting? Y'all were arguing. So they can almost see arguments as intimacy, just something a bit different. Their energy can be overwhelming potentially to other types who are more withdrawn and don't like being called out in a sense. Like a type 8's energy can like be disruptive in the sense, like a disruption. That doesn't mean a bad thing, but it can like shake things up. Call people out where they are in a sense. It can be very revealing to have an 8 kind of bump into you. Um, yeah, but they mean well. Yeah, they really are very big-hearted people, and the more you can begin to see that outer big toughness as like a big kid on the inside, wanting to say hi, wanting to shake things up, yeah, you can begin to appreciate all the aspects of type 8s and see their heart for what it really is. That they are very tender, caring, thoughtful people, who are very sensitive underneath. So yeah, that is the beautiful gift of type 8s, is that softness. And my encouragement to 8s is just find a way to express that, to live in it, to bring it up in the present, and to let your walls down and know that you're safe. Um, yeah. The more you avoid pain in your more tender side, the more it'll hurt whenever you feel touched in that place. So if you can kind of allow it to be touched more often, then you're used to it. You can process that stuff. Yeah, the type 7 with the 8 can be kind of avoidant of dealing with the pain and feeling things, being afraid of being stuck in heavy emotions or feeling pain or things of that nature. So, yeah, just growth is let your heart be seen. Uh, learn to trust someone to start to give you a new narrative about life, a new lens to see life through, and know that your energy is a beautiful thing and your heart is really big, and share it, live from it, lead with it. And that's the beautiful asset value that you add to the world. So yeah, guys, that is it for type 8. If you got value out of this, give me a thumbs up. I really appreciate the feedback and knowing that the video made an impact on you in some way. If it brought clarity to you, let me know. Leave a comment below if you have any questions about anything I've talked about, or just to hear if you're a type 8, let me know if you resonate with this. Yeah, guys. Also, I offer typing if you'd like help locking down what your type is. If you're like, I'm not sure, I resonate with 8, but also resonate with this other number. I'd love to help you with that. I also offer coaching. I need some water. I also offer coaching based on your type to help you evolve and grow, to navigate, to get unstuck in any area you feel that you're struggling with. I'd love to help you with that as well. You can book a free consultation below on my website, typologycorner.com, or book a session that's available to you. But yeah, guys, thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this on the Enneagram. I also cover MBTI, objective personality videos, just all the ranges of humanity and all our different giftings, wiring, all of that. That's my passion. I love talking about this stuff. So yeah, guys, thank you again for watching, and I will see y'all on the next one. Take care.